Hey, Guy Powell here with the backstory of the Shroud of Turin. And today we're doing a series of interviews promoting the upcoming Shroud of Turin conference that's taking place in St. Louis at the end of July, beginning on July 31st and going through August 3rd. Today we're speaking with Myra Kahn Adams, and she is a great friend of mine, but she's also a longtime speaker on the Shroud, and she'll be speaking as well at the conference. But more importantly, she is the executive director of the National Shroud of Turin exhibit. So let's dive right in. Welcome, Myra. So good to have you today.
Thank you for having me, Guy. And thank you so much for you and all the work your team is doing. Cindy Schultmeyer, this is her full-time job for the last year. Every one of you is just to be so commended because this is going to be a spectacular event and it's going to make a lot of news and it's going to have ripple effects for years to come. So great applause for all of you.
Yeah, Myra, thank you so much. That's you are so right. Cindy has been, oh man, has she been working hard, and the attendance actually has definitely exceeded our expectations. We actually had to widen some the number of tickets that were available. We had to, blow out one of the rooms, and so it's just been awesome. And this is going to be a nationally recognized event. So anyway, let's talk about a couple of things here. So what first drew you to the Shroud of Turin?
Oh, I love that question. The only thing I can really point to was a church in Harper's Ferry, West Virginia. It's a Civil War church on the top of a hilltop overlooking the Shenandoah River, and they had what I know now is called a Riki crucifix. Now, what a Riki crucifix is a life-size crucifix of Jesus on the cross, but it's not sanitized as most crucifix are, which are just basically shows the palms, which are incorrect, of course, and the crown of thorns, and maybe the spear in the side, and the piercings in the feet. But the Riki crucifix actually reflects all the torment and all the torture and all the markings of what appear on the Shroud of Turin that are on the body of Jesus. That when he laid in the tomb, this is really, what he looked like, and according to, of course, the Gospels, mirror accounts of the shroud. So this crucifix really freaked me out. I'd never seen anything like that. And I noticed at the bottom it said, this was made in Italy and it represents the markings from the Shroud of Turin. I was like, Shroud of Turin? I never heard of that. And so that was probably maybe in the 80s sometime. I can't even remember when it was, but that's the first time I'd really ever heard of the Shroud of Turin. So that kind of got me just on a little path of interest, and one thing led to another, and we ended up seeing the Shroud twice when it was on public display in 2010 and then also in 2015. In 2010, we met Barry Schwartz, who was our teacher for our one of the first meetings that my tour group had. And I got into a very interesting conversation with Barry Schwartz, as he and I are both Jewish. And I won't tell you about that conversation. I'll save it for my little talk, because it is really a very fascinating first conversation with this person I just met, and we became really good friends after that. But really fascinating little story. So stay tuned for that one. But we are a National Shroud of Turin exhibit. The goal is to have a permanent, long-time exhibit in Washington, D.C. But now that may be changing too. So I may have some big news. Actually, I will have some news to announce about that. So news that you can hear at the conference. And all this really reflects what is going on with the Shroud. It has never been more popular. It is reaching heights of popularity. And what we say in the political world, there is no ceiling for its popularity. It will keep growing and growing and growing, just like faith in Jesus keeps growing personally for all of us and for the world. So the Shroud just is an amazing mystery that people cannot get enough of. And when I always say to people, if you don't think the Shroud is real, it's because you don't know anything about the Shroud, or you don't know enough about the Shroud. And so the more you learn about the Shroud, the more you want to learn about the Shroud, the more you realize you don't know about the Shroud. It is endless in its mysteries. And I do believe that's why people are just fascinated by it, and it's never been more popular.
Yeah, it sure is endless mysteries and endless areas to be able to explore. And at the conference, there will be so many things to learn for anybody, even if you're a seasoned Shroud person or if you're new to the Shroud. There is a lot there to learn about. So, what kinds of things you kind of hinted at? One, what else can you share that kind of tease us with that you'll be talking about at the Shroud 2025 conference?
Well, I want to talk about the shroud really in general terms. Why people find it so fascinating and why the National Shroud of Turin exhibit will, in fact, be it will be an exhibit that will, I believe, change people's hearts and minds. I always like to assume that people don't know anything about it. Because I always do my own little focus groups all the time. If I'm in an Uber or something like that, people ask, what I'm involved in, and I'll mention the Shroud of Turin, and 9 times out of 10 they go, "What? Never heard of it." There are so many millions of people out there who have no idea what the Shroud is. So, National Shroud of Turin exhibit, our goal is to educate people about the Shroud, and leave it to them to determine if they think it is real or not. But it's a tool of evangelization. It's just all about getting to know the Lord Jesus Christ and what he did for us on the cross. That is the essence of the Shroud of Turin. But embodied in all that is just these mysteries that cannot be explained. Science can never explain them. Who knows if they'll ever really be unraveled. But that's why I want to talk about in general
Yeah.
what our general mission is at National Shroud of Turin exhibit, and why the news that I will announce is actually going to be a kind of a big deal. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to hearing exactly what you've got to announce about the National Shroud of Turin exhibit. So, one challenge that always, as a shroud authenticist like me and for you, is quite often people will say, "Well, I have my faith. My faith is strong enough. I don't need a relic. I don't need something like the shroud for my faith." How do you respond to that?
well, my answer to that is really simple. I refer them back to doubting Thomas in the Bible, because doubting Thomas was not going to believe that Jesus was crucified until he saw the piercings and could stick his finger in them. And Jesus said, bless those who have faith, that don't need this physical proof to believe in me. But for those who do not have enough faith and need the physical proof, I believe that is why the Shroud of Turin exists to this day. As all of us know, the shroud really should not exist. It should have been obliterated somehow. It should have been on fire. It should have been lost. I mean, there's so many reasons why in so many places in history, it could have just not existed, and it does exist to this day. And there is a reason for that. The Lord just did not want this to disappear off the face of the earth. And statistically, why it still lives in I guess its tomb, I used to say, or vault
It's
in
coffin.
Turin.
It lives in
Coffin,
its coffin.
yeah, coffin. I don't want to use the word coffin, but why it exists today is a mystery, and itself is miraculous, and that really backs up the story of why, yeah, you don't need proof, but maybe other people do need proof, and that's why it exists. It's the doubting Thomas of our age. So
Yeah,
that's always my kind of brief answer, because a lot of people don't really know the story of doubting Thomas. It's one of those
yeah.
cliches that come from the Bible, but most people have no idea what it really is.
Well,
So
and
we
doubting,
explain it a little bit.
yeah, no,
We
absolutely. And doubting Thomas was there with Jesus while he was alive, and yet he still doubted. And it wasn't until he saw Jesus, resurrected that, he was able to put his fingers in the wounds, and the shroud is kind of a representation of that. What a great answer! I really like that. So,
actually
how
written
is
about that a few times, because I've used that quite a bit, because I think it's really understandable and it's relatable to people.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how has the shroud affected your faith?
Oh, let's see. I would say it just makes me love the Lord more. My faith is an ongoing journey all the time, because I was born and raised Jewish, and I'm now Catholic, but it's been a journey. But the shroud just makes me understand. better. I mean, what Jesus did for us on the cross. It's a mirror of the gospel. And it just makes me love him more, makes me believe in him more. It makes me want to just be a promoter of the shroud, because I do believe it really can impact people's faith in just a profound way. And the fact that it exists is itself an act of God. So it's impacted my faith in just that it just makes my faith even stronger and gives me more reason to just keep going, and particularly being Jewish. I mean, I obviously have some issues with my fellow tribesmen who just think it's a joke. In fact, I'll tell you a funny story about Barry. He and I talked about that one time. I said, "What do your Jewish friends think about you involved with the shroud?" He goes, "Well, most of them just say, 'Hey, nice, glad you're happy.' That's it. It's like they really didn't want anything to do with it." He said, "The only people that really care about it, Myra, are people like you that are Messianic Jews. Other than that, the rest of them say, 'Yeah, Barry, good, glad you're happy.' Glad you found something to do." I always love that way he said that to me. It was so funny, but it is so true. So my fellow tribesmen, for some reason, they just think it's a bunch of junk. How can that be true? And it's just like they don't even want to go there.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
Well, it's so
irritates me
good
a lot.
that you brought up Barry Schwartz. So he just recently passed away, and he was kind of the really the face and the embodiment of the shroud. For so long, he was part of the original STURP Shroud of Turin research project, and we are going to have a tribute to Barry, and certainly our thoughts and are always with Barry, and so I'm so glad you brought him up as we're talking here.
Well, it's been a year. He passed away last June.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's been
Yeah.
just a few days over a year. Yeah, so wow, Myra, that's been such a great story and such interesting perspectives, and definitely very interested in hearing all the stuff you're going to tell us about the National Shroud of Turin exhibit that's coming up. And man, oh man, that's it will be wonderful to have a permanent exhibit of the shroud somewhere in Washington, D.C., and that'll just be fantastic. So for the audience, definitely we're going to do a couple of more of these personal interviews about the upcoming conference. For you, please visit shroud2025conference.com, shroud2025conference.com to learn more, see the full lineup of speakers, and then, of course, please register to attend. We want to get to meet you, we want to get to know you, and we want to tell you more and more, so much about what we know about the shroud, and help you to see how valuable of a relic that really is, and how valuable it is to all of our faith and to the world. Myra, again, thank you so much for this morning.
Thank you so much for having me, Guy.
Absolutely.